What is going on, guys? Get123 here, back with another update video for the Axial SCX10 2 build. At this point, this thing is a long work in progress, and it is time to get it done. This is the first update video that I've uploaded in many months, actually, so I'm going to have parts 1 through 7 linked down below in the description. This is part 8 of the build, and today we are going to be doing things with tires, so let's just hop right into it. Okay, so picking things up exactly where we left off. You guys haven't missed a single thing here. Looks like we're jumping in at step 47, which basically just involves a few things with the tires. We're getting them glued, and we're also getting them attached. So you can see the few parts that we need here in their little baggies. And so, you know, you got to get the parts out of the baggie in order to use said parts. So dump all these out. And basically, what we're working with here, let me give you a zoom in. We're getting this little pin inside of this little nut, I guess, and so it's kind of a really small, awkward thing to work with. We are a little pixelated here because I zoomed in on this footage, but it would have just been way too small had I not zoomed in, so I hope you can deal with a little bit of pixelation. But as you can see here, you got to get this nut slid over this pin. The nut has a slot in it, but it's actually a little bit tricky to do, and you need to do this for all 4 tires. So here you can see me kind of struggling with it a little bit, kind of using a screwdriver here to help me, and then right there you can see the nut slide down, get seated where it needs to be. So once you've got that on, you've got this little mini, just like threaded, it's kind of like a screw without the screw head on it. It's just a little threaded piece of metal that you can kind of screw into there on the nut, and it's going to hold it tight against that axle there. And now you can see, look at that. It's locked down. It's not going anywhere. It is on there for good. So you got to do that 3 more times. I'm not going to show that in this video, though. You really only need to see it once. And once you have those nuts on, the tire can then go on the axle, and the tire is going to catch on that nut. So as the axle spins, it's going to make sure that the tire is spinning with it. Now, I just wanted to see here how it's going to look and feel once the tire is on it, but the tire actually isn't glued yet, so it actually has to come off here. I just wanted to see what it was going to look like and get a feel for it. But now we need to glue the tires. Now, this part was a little bit weird for me. I'd never done anything like this before. You can see here's the first one that I glued off camera, and you can see some of the dried glue there around the edge of the wheel there going onto the tire. But let's try gluing another one here. Give that a little shake. Oh yeah, and then pull the cap right off. The cap's actually really difficult to get off once you open it one time because it kind of glues itself down. But basically, you can see the technique that you kind of want to use here. I'm no expert here. This was my first time gluing tires, but you need to separate the tire away from the wheel or the rim or whatever you want to call it. And you need to get a little bit of glue down in there. And as for how much glue exactly you need, I was kind of guessing. I watched a few other YouTube videos for reference, and obviously you can see I have a little bit of excess glue. When the rubber comes up and meets the wheel, you can see some excess leaks out, and so, I don't know, I might have gone a little bit heavy on the glue here, but since it was my first time doing it, we just kind of had to guess our way through it and do the best that we knew how to do. So you want to go around the entire circumference of the wheel, and you can see when it's done, it's going to look a little something like that. Now, you do need to glue both sides of it. So what I recommend you do is you glue all 4 on one side, leave them to dry, then once they've all dried, do all 4 on the other side that is not glued yet. So here I think you can see that my technique has slightly improved after gluing the first tire, the first 2 of them. We're kind of getting a little better idea of what we're doing. The grip's a little bit better. I liked how, you know, I had my palm mounted up there to stabilize my hand, and then from there we're kind of able to hold that glue bottle like a pencil roughly, and it doesn't work out too bad. Do not get this glue on your fingers. It is very difficult to get off. It's basically super glue, and it took me a few days to get it all off, so caution there. So once you are done, it looks something like this. It's a little weird, but the glue seemed to have turned white. On the fresh one, you can see it's not white yet, but on the one that was glued and had a few hours to sit, the glue turned white. So I'm sure there's something I can rub on it that will, maybe some kind of nail polish remover. What do they call that? Acetone. There's probably something that'll eat away some of that excess glue that I can put on there just to tidy them up a little bit. So one more tire here. I don't even know why we're showing this one exactly. Oh yeah, just to show you how good my technique's gotten. Look at this. Using the whole thumb there, pulling down an entire section of the tire at once. Each tire that I did got quicker and quicker because each time I was able to improve my technique a little bit. So once you have them all glued and they have dried, we can actually secure these to the car now. So we're going to go back to our one of our part baggies and take out this tool here that's going to allow us to fasten a nut on the outside of the tire, which will fasten it down to the axle. So as you can see here, we're going to put it on, and it took quite a few turns. I edited out a few turns here because I couldn't believe how many turns it actually took to tighten that thing down. But you can see once it's on, there we go. There we have it. So this thing's starting to look a little bit more like an RC truck now, since it actually has the tires on it. So here I was just going around one final time, tightening these down, just making sure they're all evenly tightened. Obviously with these kinds of things, you never want to over tighten, just kind of go until it's firm. So these actually go over top of the screw that we use to fasten the tires to the axle. Tried spinning this one off like this here, and that didn't work, so we had to go over to our handy dandy tool case, bust out the snippers there, and snip these out. So these little caps, I guess you could call them, are going to help give it that scale look. You can see now instead of threading showing like there used to be, we've just got a much more normal looking tire. And that's what you want on these scale crawlers. You want everything to look as realistic and close to real life as possible, so these little things do end up being an important detail. And so that is actually going to be it for part 8. I know this is kind of a shortish video here. We're coming in at like 7 minutes, but all this in real life took me well over an hour to do. I just edited it down to a much more digestible version of what actually happened. So we will have more parts of this build coming. We've probably got at least like 5 more parts coming when you take everything we still have left to do, painting the body, putting on more stuff, cutting out the body, sanding it, a whole bunch of junk. So stay tuned for that, guys. So keep an eye out for more of these videos in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.